So by the time you got to high school, I'm sure you were already playing football. But which other sports did you play?
Yeah, track and field.
So just track and
I
football, pretty
did I
much.
did track and football. Yeah, basketball was kind of like on the side, from high school. You have your group of guys, your boys that you meet up with during lunch breaks and so on. But what's amazing about that is my best friend that I grew up with, and he's like he's a part of the family. He's another one of the Johnsons, if you will. He's a brother to me. We grew up in the same area, same classes, and so on. And his name is Danny, and Danny is a dude. Danny was by far, he was like one of the most athletic basketball players that I've seen. And I really didn't have this idea of playing basketball until we met, and this was like I think eighth grade or something like this, or rather. And I made a joke that I think I could beat him, 1-on-1. And then he was like, "All right, bet." So we went out and we played, and I didn't score a single point. And I thought, like, literally, I'm this athletic kid who can shoot from everywhere on the court, and that's when I met my match. But at the same time, that's what also brought me into this, basketball world of what it is. But to see him do his thing on the basketball court was definitely motivating, because we would switch back. I would watch him do his basketball, and then he would come and watch me do football. And we, even though we went to two different high schools, there was always that love and support for one another, that was amazing to not only see but to have from one another.
Okay.
So yeah, so football, basketball, track and field.
Okay. The
But that
typical
was
fall, winter, spring
exactly,
sports. Yeah.
exactly. That was our main deal, because again, it's like I said, track and field and understanding the speed. Football is, a lot of people tend to believe, it's power. It's a power sport. You got to go in the gym. You have to do hand cleans, bench press, squats, and so on, which is true. But at that age, and we're talking from the ages of 10 years old to the age of 16, 17, 18, the body is still growing and is still maturing. The muscular factor of the body is still maturing. So for my father, he didn't want to put all that weight on us. Now again, this is a different era, it's a different time, so understanding the body and how the body operates within the fitness world was a different viewpoint. We're talking, early 90s. But he did understand that, okay, even though they could do calisthenics or they can do body weighted fitness programs,
Right.
track and field is something where, you can't, a lot of people say you can't teach speed, but he knew, no, you can actually teach speed. Don't believe in that concept that you can't. Because again, that was also one of his words, that that word did not exist
Right.
in the
I already
house.
know.
This can't, or I cannot, and it was like, no, you can, you will, you that is embedded in us, to just do it.
Right,
And
right.
so so that was our sports, and we carried that with us all the way through track and field, football. Yeah, and that was it.
And in terms of football, did you always only play running back, or did you also play different
No,
positions?
man. Like I said, I had three older brothers, and we're all pretty much a year apart. So when we went to high school, my oldest brother, he was already in college, because he's literally, obviously, he's 5 years older than myself. So when I hit my sophomore year of high school, he was already in his first year of university, second year of university. But we all played running back, right?
Okay.
So as my father played running back, he raised us to be
Right.
running backs,
Right.
which was cool, because when we worked out, and when I say we worked out, I think he thought of us as, kind of like the Jackson Fives of football, man. So if you watch the Jackson 5 movie, it was that, no, get up, There's no lazy days.
Right.
All right. There's no lazy days. So for us, and understanding that I had two older brothers at the same high school, which was Dobson High School in Mesa, Arizona, and that's probably, and people like to say, "Oh, you from Mesa?" It's like, no, but I did go to school in Mesa, Arizona. That was one of the deals where all of my brothers were being heavily recruited from virtually every single university in the nation. And when you're talking about five-star talent, as you know now, man, if you're a five-star talent, man, these schools, they have recruiters, knocking at their door. So it was fun to be a freshman or a sophomore in high school and to see these recruiters come in to recruit my older brothers, and then for them to look at me and say, "We're coming back to get you too." It's one of those like what did I do? I haven't even started yet. But so I think the high school coach, Coach Mike Clark out of Dobson, Arizona, I think for him, he knew he had someone, or he had a very special family. And for my second oldest brother, his name is Kandwani. You're talking about a kid who, at the age of 12, was already running, was seventh fastest 12-year-old in America at that time.
Wow.
So when you're talking about speed, this is why, track and field, that was a major issue for us. So his nickname is Cheetah, by the way. Something it stuck with him, even though he's not so much of a cheetah today, but that's his nickname. And so when you're a high school coach, you have the fastest kid in the state of Arizona, or the second fastest kid in the state of Arizona, because there was another kid in front of him who was, I think, even sixth or fifth fastest in America at that time. And you say, whoa, okay, well, he's our starting running back. Not only is he fast, but he has all the moves. He has the perfect body size for it. My third brother, his name is Rashidi. My third brother, Raj, as we call him, different body style, right? But yet, same speed, same power. His style of running was definitely different from Kandwani, but they complemented each other so well. One would say he's a scat back, the other one's a bruiser. But you didn't know if he was a bruiser because he had that that Barry Sanders, if you will, as well. So for me, I had to wait my turn. So I played DB. I played corner.
Okay.
I played corner my entire time. I didn't play safety or anything like that. I just stayed at corner. So when we went to the state playoffs and went through the season, you're talking about three of the best quote unquote running backs in the state of Arizona, but knowingly for sure you had the two best running backs in the state of Arizona at that time, and they were just rotating, and teams couldn't really stop us. And then I was going back, returning punts, returning kicks, and then playing defense. So I had to wait my turn,
Right.
In that regards. But I always tell people, the funny thing is our first scrimmage game. You know how every team has these scrimmage games before the season begins, and my very first scrimmage game, I was junior varsity. I was only a sophomore then, and I had my junior varsity head coach at that time. I don't know what he had against me. I don't know if it was a bit of animosity or what have you. But we had a scrimmage game, the same night as the varsity had their scrimmage game, and he wouldn't play me. And it went through the entire scrimmage, pretty much I would say like maybe up until like the third quarter of the scrimmage. And, everybody is like, put Jabari in, let him play, and he wouldn't play me. It was like, how are you going to keep your best player on the sideline? And it had nothing to do with, I want to save him for the season. It wasn't nothing like that. It was just there was something there for some reason or whatever. And so the head coach saw it on the varsity football team. And he came over and he said, have you went in yet? And I said, no, sir. and he said, "Okay, go take your helmet and your shoulder pads, change, take that off, and you're going to be suiting up with the varsity football team today." So I said, "Okay." I was kind of shocked, but I accepted the challenge. I got everything on. I talked to my father. He said, "Okay, you gonna play with the varsity?" I said, "Yeah." My brothers were all excited because they're like, "Hey, finally, you're gonna be with us, and we're gonna show you how it's done." So my oldest brother, again, boom, 150 yards, night, 3 touchdowns, all within the first half. That's his deal. My second brother goes in, or excuse me, not my third brother. He goes in, same thing. And again, this is a scrimmage game. So third quarter, he's lighting it up. Fourth quarter, he's lighting it up. So towards the end of the fourth quarter, now mind you, I've been sitting there. I didn't play in the first game of the junior varsity scrimmage. I'm sitting there throughout the entire game of the varsity scrimmage. Now in the fourth quarter, here's my turn. Luckily, our play calling system from JV is the same as the varsity, so I knew, the run plays. I get in there, and he calls up, like a 22 zone first run play, and literally we're sitting about 75 yards back, and I take it, and I streak all the way down to the house, touchdown. That whole team is going crazy. My brothers are running down there, to congratulate me, and it's one of those things where I look at it and they say, "Well, man, what happened? That was you're playing against 8, you were only 15 at the time."
Right.
And to be honest, I said, "Dude, I just didn't want to get hit." It was like, because I knew I'm playing against, at that time, when you're 14 playing with 18-year-olds, you're like, these are grown men. And I was more afraid of being hit. But that right there was the beginning point to me understanding how to run the football, how to be elusive, how to avoid being hit, and I think eventually that is what helped me propel myself to becoming a great running back. But again, I had to wait my turn in high school.
Okay. So, but by your senior year, you were an all-state running back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I can assume as an all-state running back that recruiting, you had various colleges recruiting you. I can imagine.
Yeah. That was. For me, I love the recruiting process. You get guys that maybe they get too bothered with the recruiting. I think the recruiting process is great because again, you got to imagine when you have dreams of being at that next stage, there's nothing more gratifying than someone saying, "Hey, you know what? You've paid your dues, and we want to offer you a full ride scholarship, to come and play at our university." And for me, it was more so of fulfilling that goal, but to also take the burden off of. I don't want to say burden. It definitely wasn't a burden on my folks because that was their plan. I don't. In America, you're talking about 4 boys virtually a year apart to pay for college tuition. You have to be a millionaire several times over.
Right.
And that obviously wasn't our deal. So we had no choice.
Right.
We had to go to university. And the recruitment process was quite funny for me. Because being recruited by virtually every university outside of Ivy League, if you will, because trust me, my grades were pretty bad. My other brothers were pretty studious in that regards, but for me, I didn't have a 3.0 GPA. I had teachers at my high school that would literally, and they told me to my face that I was remedial. And if you don't know remedial, that's basically special education courses that I should have taken. They were saying, "Hey, I'm illiterate. I can't read. My math skills are, below, freshman, eighth grade level, and here I am as a senior in high school. So, when the teacher spoke to my father and myself directly, and he says, "Hey, Jabari, he's not going to university." Now, mind you, my three other brothers are already, my oldest brother's at University of Arizona. He's playing fullback for University of Arizona. My second brother, Kandwani, he's at University of Missouri playing running back. My third brother, Raj, he's at University of Missouri playing fullback. And so to have three brothers go Division I, single A, and all of them went through the same process of recruitment and so on. And then for this teacher, or for these teachers, I would say, to say, the other three made it, Mr. Johnson, but this last one right here, it's not for him. He's not there. When I heard them say that, and me be in the room as they're telling my father this, I literally thought my father was going to explode. I thought he was about to, a bunch of, curse words here and there and start swinging or something, but he didn't. He took it on the chin. He ate those punches. And when we walked outside, he said, "You know what? We're going to make a liar out of those bastards." Excuse my language, but that, keeping it 100, that was his deal. He was like, "Everything they said, you heard them." And I said, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "Don't worry though. We're going to make every last one of them into liars." And so what we set out to do, he mapped out a plan, and he said, "This is what you're going to do." And he knew, he had my transcripts. He had a very good friend at the high school at that time. I can't remember his name, but he was a counselor. And they sat down many afternoons and looked at my transcripts, figured out what I needed to take or what I needed to retake to pull my GPA level back up. And when he came back, he said, "Look, here's your new transcript, here's your new class schedule, and this is what you're going to do." So I literally had to redo my freshman year and my sophomore year of high school to pull my GPA up high enough to where I can take my SATs. And let's say if I got like an 800 or a 900 on my SATs,
right,
then it matched with my GPA, and then I was collegiate or college level, university level ready. And so I had to do my normal high school schedule. Then I went to football practice. After football practice, I went to night school. And that was night school every day, Monday through Friday. Saturday, let's say Friday after the games, on Saturday, I had Saturday school. So going through schooling to redo all of these classes to pull my GPA level. Now, obviously, the better thing would have been just to pay attention in class and get great grades and so on. That would be idealistic, but not everybody is quite there. You're going to have some that blossom and bloom early, and I was a late bloomer. But my father knew what it took to get me out of that stage. So I ended up passing and retaking a lot of those classes. Now, mind you, 2 of those classes were that I were given bad grades in were from the same head coach from the junior varsity.
Okay.
So again, this is what I'm saying. There was something there, but it is what it is. But for me, he was always like, and I'm talking about my father, he's like, "We got to overlook that. You're going to have people in life that are constantly going to knock you down for no reason or rather. It just happens. But you have to continue to run your marathon. You have to continue to keep, at it, regardless of what's going on around you." And I ended up taking my SATs. I ended up passing my SATs, and passing my ACTs, and making sure I lined up everything that I was supposed to do to be able to go to university.
Okay.
So for me, the recruitment process, when it came, it was funny. It was nice. It was cool to be able to have these coaches say, "Hey, come to our university. We fly you out, and we have 5 trips and so on."
Right.
I had a choice, and my choice was to go to Texas A&M or to go to University of Washington. Now, mind you, Arizona State University had already somehow been confirmed that I was going to go to Arizona State University, and so when my father said, "Why are all these schools now taking, the back seat?" and he spoke to, I think it was the offensive coordinator at that time at Oregon State, and he said, "Yeah, well, we heard that your son signed with Arizona State already," and he was like, "Nah, he ain't signed with anybody." So he had to make a bunch of phone calls, and this is why I say it's imperative when your parents are involved in the recruiting process. It's a good deal. So he got involved, and he kind of took over the reins. I had a decision. I had Texas A&M saying, "Come to us." University of Washington saying, "Yep, come to us." So we actually went to the airport, and we said, "Okay, we're gonna flip a coin. All right, if it's heads, we're gonna go to University of Washington. If it's tails, we're gonna go to Texas A&M," because the weekend was both set up for both schools. We said yes to both schools, and then we were just gonna sit there. We prayed over it, and went to the ticket counter booth. And my ticket for University of Washington for Seattle was there. My ticket for Texas A&M was not there. So we took that as, okay, that's what God has for us. So I flew to Seattle, and I didn't want to play any games with it. After that visit, I said, "Yep, I'm signing," and the rest was history.
All right. Okay.